Welcome back to the offices of Esprit where they're marking the 20th anniversary, and I've asked Scott and Catherine Taylor, the founders and publishers of Esprit to share some of the Remembrance Day stories and some of the veteran stories that have most touched both of you. And of course, you've been able to share those stories through your art, which we have been showing and will continue to show. And Scott, through your words, you've been quite the team, have you not?
And we've got a big team behind us. I mean, that's the thing too, is we provide the conduit, and that's what I think we try to make clear, is that people then come to us and then we either give them voice or bring them together. And there's been a lot of issues in the past, and a lot of sensitive ones too. I mean, obviously, Gulf War syndrome, I mean, things that people have been suffering from, ailments. They've come here and tried to go out and get that into the mainstream media, which we've been successful on a number of occasions. It's not always just corruption scandals, it's also about making sure that the wounded get taken care of. And I think from that, and it's them making sure that they get their due, we provide that access for them.
Your demographic has changed as well over the years, and you've heard some stories from veterans who have been longtime subscribers who ran into situations because of vision. Tell us that story.
Oh, we had a chap wrote in and he said that he would love the magazine, love to continue getting it, but he could no longer see, so it wasn't possible for him to read it. And we published that letter in our letter section, and we had at least 4 people from the Ottawa area called in and said they would gladly donate their time each month to go and read to him. Mm-hmm. And then we've had others that said they can no longer afford it, and that one was deluged with people saying, I'll buy them a subscription, and to the point where we had to say, look, he's now good to 125. Wow. But people just jumped on and did. I mean, it's part of we've got 400 or 500 lifetime members, people that signed up and want to be part of as long as we are existing and they are alive, they want to get the magazine. So, I mean, that's touching.
Absolutely. And one of which, Louise and her mom would even come in and help us with our mail-outs.
And Louise is an Iraq veteran?
For the first Gulf War, yeah. As we know, it was a Gulf War syndrome, and a lot of people suffering from undisclosed ailments. It was one of those things that came out of the dark side of that war. And at the beginning, of course, they weren't organized, and they were sort of left off the map, and we were able to give them some voice and help them out. And in return, they come in here and help us, because, I mean, it's something which, obviously, this is a grassroots movement, and people come in here and literally monotonously label magazines to help us.
Your demographic has so changed.
Absolutely.
When we started this, the business plan, we still had at that point, there was 90,000 World War I veterans still alive, and nearly 750,000 World War II veterans, which of course now 20 years later, we've slid that to the point where now the World War II veterans are diminishing, and we're now getting a much more, obviously the whole new crop of modern veterans that we were getting coming back from Afghanistan has changed the demographics.
This was a story that you'd wanted to share, a World War II story.
It was World War I, this guy was. He still had a World War I veteran that was, I think he was 99 years old at the time, but I think his brother had also been in the Boer War, so it was one of those things at that point in the magazine's infancy, we still had people going that far back to the turn of the century, still alive and still reading us, so we're seeing a change definitely in our demographics. But again, as I said, we've now got a new crop of guys coming back from war zones that are able to, bridge that gap, and I think that's important. The Korea vets, the World War II vets have their own ways of bonding with the modern vets.
We're going to come back, and we're going to be joined by, part of the family, Les Pete, who is a Korean War veteran and a regular and long-time contributor to Esprit.
Well, we spend most of our day doing it, though many of us really don't like what we do for a living. We stick it out because we have mortgages, we have kids, we fear change. CTV's Joanne Schnur now on how a lawyer switched gears on his career and magically transformed himself.
So put the 5 of spades right here.
If there's one thing Ian Quick is passionate about,